Welcome to Live Into Your Best Life, a show where people learn how to go from where they are to where they'd like to be in any area of life. If you're looking for a new job, wanting to improve your relationships, or even reclaim your health, Claudia Skaja will share with you a simple formula that can take you on a journey to begin to live into your best life in all areas of life. Now sit back and begin your journey.
Hi there, and welcome to Live Into Your Best Life. I'm Claudia Skaja, your show's host. Today I have a special bridging episode to share with you. Last week was the 1-year anniversary of me starting this podcast. That's right, there have been 53 shows every week. So we recorded the very first show on April 3rd. To launch, why am I doing this podcast and what's the intent? Who do I want to help? Why do I want to help them? And how am I able to? And that started a weekly experience, a journey. I will tell you, I have had so much fun interviewing people and getting notes from folks on topics they'd like to dive deeper into and bringing that to life. And it's been a lot of fun listening to how people have been using the tactics or what they've been learning from the shows so that they can improve their lives. So thank you for sharing. Please continue as we move forward on this journey together. Now, here's my selfish reason for doing this show. We're going to recap the highlights of each week. I would love if you could go back and listen to any of the shows that you might be interested in. Why? Because we're almost at 15,000 downloads. Now, a lot of people don't realize, but most podcasts don't make it past 10 shows. We've already got 53, and I've actually got 8 ready to be produced and launched. But I want to make sure that you've captured what you need to learn from the first year, and I want to make sure that you set the foundation for moving forward. And I would love your help to hit 15,000 downloads by the end of April. So please help me do that. I hope that some of these shows really resonate with you, and I will let you know when we hit the marker. So let's get on with today's show. We launched the first Live Into Your Best Life podcast on April 3rd of 2024. And that episode was Karen Roberts interviewing me about why was I doing this show. The next week, the show is called Embarking on Your Journey, Unveiling the Path into Your Best Life. And episode 2 talks about your reticular activating system, that inner guidance system that you have, and really has you starting to look at what is it about your current state that you're attracting more of, and what would you like to be bringing into your life instead. We continue on that topic the following week, episode 3, with manifesting your true intentions, navigating life's breadcrumbs. And this is where I literally talk to you and bring to life the concept of the reticular activating system, and where we start to engage in exercises like flipping the coin or just really ideas on tuning into your own intuition, helping you to guide, is this really what you want? Or would you like something else? Episode 4 is about love and respecting yourself. And in that episode, I talk about how often we find ourselves caught up in the cycle of self-talk, negative criticism, and the challenges that we go through. And I ask you to reflect, would you actually talk to your best friend that way? I've got a little research in that one. It's a really great reminder. Episode 5, Navigating Your Journey to Professional Happiness. This is where I do a recap of Next Stop, Your Dream Job, the book that I wrote in 2023. And I talk through the steps about how often the jobs that we are going to enjoy the most and do the best at bring to life our skills from when we were kids. What we enjoyed doing as children is often an indication of what we ought to be doing as adults. Episode 6, Unlocking Your Potential. In this episode, I interview my son, Taylor, about his unique approach to life and how he is fearless in pursuing his passions and carving his own path. So give a listen and learn how my son has been able to create a life that is amazing and probably nothing like he ever thought he would be experiencing. And I believe a completely deeper level of enjoyment as he's continued on his journey of living into his best life. Episode 7, Discovering Career Joy. This was an episode that launched in May, around Mother's Day, and it was 1 month after my mom passed away. We took a recording that I did in July of 2023, and I share it with you. It was just, I stopped by to say hi, and I happened to interview her for a portion of the book that I was writing at the time. And I used that interview to share with everybody a little insight into my mom and her life and her careers. In episode 9, Transform Your Life, achieve personal growth with honesty, visualization, and micro wins. Now, in this one, I talk about the significance of micro wins, which is consistent small progress. And we talk about how every day, just noticing something that went well, something that you did really well, something that you want to continue doing, or what would you like to stop doing, and what would you like to replace that habit with that you would like to bring to life? So listening in on that one, I talk about the atomic habits and how you can imagine you're doing it and bring it to life. Episode 10, Unlocking Career Fulfillment, Navigating Change and Embracing Authentic Connections. In this episode, I interview my husband, Christianson. He's the director of sales at an assisted living company, and he kind of jokes that it only took him 50 some years to find what his passion is. And now he's excelling. So give a listen. If you've ever wondered, how do I get on the right track? That short little conversation with Chris will help you find some insights as well. Episode 11, Unlock Your Potential, Transform Your Mindset, and Live into Your Best Life. I talked to you a little bit in this one about beliefs and how those beliefs actually shape our reality. What we focus on is what we attract into our lives. And so imagine, what are those things that might be holding you back? And how might you shift them to unlock the doors and start heading in the direction you'd like? Episode 12, Unlocking Leadership Potential, Embracing a Growth Mindset for Success. Now, in this episode, I start to clarify the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And while we benefit from having a balance of both, I do talk a little about how to shift that mindset to be more growth-oriented and more open-minded, and some tactics that you can start to embrace, especially if you want to get into leadership positions, get promoted, be a manager or start to just build that career. So a lot of really great tidbits on how to move in that direction. Next, episode 13, Mastering Personal Growth, Embracing Shuha-Ri for Your Best Life. Shuha-Ri is 3 stages of mastery. Shu is all about just follow the rules. Ha is knowing the rules well enough that you can bend them. And then Ri is being a master and you create your own rules. You get to create your own program. You get to create your way of doing things. So if you're looking at how to take your life to the next level, that's an excellent episode to listen to. Episode 14, Aligning Inner Guidance, Navigating Personal Growth and Creativity. This special episode, I recorded my friend Monica Kenton, and we talked about her extensive background in shamanic practices and dreams, numerology, and really her spiritual roadmap. Kind of how did she get into all of these really fascinating practices, and how does she help others open up these doorways and ideas to live their lives more fully. Episode 15, Mastering Energy, Harnessing Thoughts and Words for a Positive Life. So in this episode, I reflect on the conversation we had with Monica and start to share with you some ways to actually bring the practices she talked about to life in your life. So one of the ideas that I talk about in this episode is the power of the energy behind the words we say. I share an experience where I have classes, when I host classes, I have people say the word desperate. Then I have people say the word determined. Now you can do that now if you'd like, and just notice the difference in your body. And then think about how can you shift that feeling of desperation into determination. And that's what that class is, or that session is all about, is harnessing the power of the energy behind the words and the thoughts. Episode 16, Empowering Careers, From Childhood Dreams to Leadership Catalysts. I interviewed my friend Neal in this episode. She's an author and she is an amazing engineer, and she is a fantastic leader. So it was a lot of fun talking to Lauren about her childhood, about how she got into engineering, and about the path that she's taken as she's continued to move forward and help others live into their best lives. Episode 17, Unveiling Your Iterative Journey, Embracing Growth and Overcoming Challenges. We're not going to go from where we are to where we want to be overnight, or at least not, most people don't. Most times there's a journey, and the benefit of having a journey is that you can pivot along the way. And that is brilliant, because as we go on our journey, if something happens and we don't like the direction it's going, we can learn from it. We can refine how we respond to life, and we can start to go in the direction, shift small micro wins and small shifts to get to the direction we'd like to go. In this episode, I also talk about the perspectives and how we can start to learn from our situations so that we can respond in a way we'd like to achieve the outcomes we want. Episode 18, Transform Your Life, Overcoming Fear and Self-Doubt with Hypnotherapy and Intentional Actions. In this episode, I interviewed Joshua Peters, And Joshua is a master hypnotherapist who really helps their clients focus on and find their inner strength, confidence, and the ability to overcome anxiety, fear, and self-doubt. He has a podcast called Superstates, where he interviews experts in trance and personal development. And in this episode, Joshua talks about his journey, some of the challenges that he faced, and how he overcame them. I just want to remind you that we're all on this journey together. And each of the people that I interviewed revealed a variety of nuggets, very personal, authentic pieces of their lives. They got vulnerable and they shared some of them shared some stories that they hadn't shared with others or hadn't shared often. And so we got a glimpse into some of these challenges. And I think it's brilliant because it can help us understand that everybody's on a journey and we can all achieve what we want. Episode 19, Mastering Your Journey, Unveiling the Truth About Coaching. I got really clear on what's going on in the coaching world. There are a lot of people out there who are paper coaches. And just because you have a piece of paper doesn't mean you're necessarily qualified to coach people or to help people transform their lives. It means that you've taken a class and you've participated to the level that qualifies you for a piece of paper. So if you're choosing to work with a coach, really be careful. Are they the right coach for you? Do they have the qualifications that you are looking for and need to help you? And how might they support your growth? Have they gone the journey before you so that they can understand where you are and what you need? Do they have the right credentials? Do they have the right training? Do they have the right experiences to support your journey? Be really careful. And that's what episode 19 is all about. Episode 20, I got to interview my friend Tom Ald. Tom and I have worked together before, and our careers have kind of overlapped a few times, and our personal lives overlapped a lot. And so it was really fun to chat with Tom about some of the special offerings he has for his coaches, his clients, the trainings that he does, and his journey that he took to get where he's been. I also love the story about how he got the job he always wanted to discover that he really didn't want it. And he had the opportunity to pivot and make a choice to go in another direction. Episode 21 is Mastering the Art of Saying No. So I used to be involved in everything. And I literally was the person that people would go to. If they wanted to get something done, they would bring me on their project because they knew it would get done. It wore me out. I had to learn to set boundaries. And I had to get really clear on what's right for me. And that's what that episode's all about. Episode 22, I interviewed Karen Roberts. So remember, she interviewed me to kick our podcast off. And then in episode 22, I interviewed her to learn all about her podcasting business and how she got into hosting podcasts and helping podcasters create an amazing flow to what they're doing. She talks about her radio show and just all the tidbits on her journey. Episode 23, I focus on stop shoulding on yourself and how we want to fit in. We strive to do what's right. We often forget to listen to ourselves and do what's right for us. And we instead think, oh, I should do this. I should do that. Instead, you can shift it to I get to, or you get to ask yourself, do I want to? And you can make the choice, yes or no. Episode 24, Transformative Journeys, Overcoming Challenges and Embracing Growth. In this episode, I interview my friend Sherry Cutter. She is a seasoned expert in personal development, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, hypnosis, and coaching. She has over 20 years in the healing arts, and she shares her journey and insights and how she had to make some significant pivots in her life around 2019, 2020, 2021 that led her in a completely different direction than she expected, and how it's been unfolding. So following your dreams and shifting them to create new dreams. In episode 25, I talk with you about mastering decisions, and I share the 10-10-10 method. In a nutshell, if you're trying to make a decision, ask yourself, if I do this thing, what's the impact in 10 minutes? If I do this thing, what will be the impact in 10 months? If I do this thing, what's going to be the impact 10 years from now? And then, what if I choose not to? 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years. Often, you'll start to see a pattern and feel how things should be. And then you can make a decision pretty quickly on whether you should or shouldn't do something. And I give you a few tactics in there to try. Episode 26, Embracing the Journey, Navigating Grief and End of Life. My friend Angie Kylo is an end-of-life doula. I never even knew there was anything until I was starting to go through the journey with my mom. Angie shares her inspiring story when she was working through the very fast end of life for her husband and all that she and the kids went through, and how she has helped others go through a painful process and make it less painful, more, well, as comfortable as you can. She shares some really amazing insights that just impact everyday life. So give a listen. Episode 27, I call that one Mirror, Mirror. Often people are reflecting back to us something that we need to pay attention to. This episode came out September 25th of 2024. And ironically, just last weekend, I was thinking to myself, wow, what do I need to pay attention to? Because it feels like I'm becoming a target and all these drivers are coming at me. All these people, it's like I was invisible and nobody could see me. Nobody was paying attention to me. What's that about? And I started to listen in on what can I learn and how do I need to be so that I can be seen in the way I want. So it's fun that even though I recorded it in September, it still has practical application and I still practice it. So I would really encourage you to listen in and then try the exercises out to see if they can give you some guidance on your life. Episode 28, What If? So I talk about what if scenarios that often paralyze people with fear. What if I do this thing I really want and I hate it? What if you love it? And if you hate it, what if you choose something else? Good for you for trying. What if I do this thing and people think I'm crazy? Okay, so what if they do? Does that matter? We talk about the crabs in the bucket and what that represents and how by letting go of those crabs, you can propel yourself to new heights. Episode 29, Embrace Change, Navigating Life's Journeys with Clarity and Flexibility. So in this episode, I discuss the need for adaptability as you navigate your journey through this thing we call life. Your plans are going to change, but it's really important to stay flexible and have effective communication with people. It's not just about you changing, but when you change direction, you're impacting others. And so it's really great to tune in, see what's going on for others, and then make sure that you're moving forward gracefully. Episode 30, Magic, Sales, and Resilience. How Magic Brad turned setbacks into success. So in this episode, I interview my friend Magic Brad, who is a magician, a sales expert. He is amazing at networking. He is fantastic at events, and he loves bringing people together. And he's turned some childhood fun into a fantastic way to work magic in all aspects of life. Episode 31, Words Matter. I talk about the ripple effect in our communication and in our behavior. When we say certain words, there's energy behind it. When we say words that allow people to understand what we want instead of what we don't want, we're going to get going to have better communication and are more likely to get the outcomes we desire. So listen completely, be mindful of your words and your actions, and focus on what do I want instead of what do I don't want. So if you want to dig into that and learn a little more about that word not and how it impacts and might be preventing you from achieving what you want, there's the episode. 32, Embracing Change, the journey of a digital nomad. I got to interview my friend Diane Gaubert in this episode. She's an experienced trainer and consultant, and a few years ago, she decided she wasn't going to have a primary address. She was going to start just moving around the world. She has different locations she goes at different times of the year, and she speaks several languages. She's fluent in French, Spanish, English, and Portuguese. I absolutely just love listening to her. So if you're driving and you want to just hear beautiful words, this is your episode. But she is such an amazing person. And I love how she's turned her life circumstances into an amazing opportunity to learn, to change, to grow, and to enhance the lives of those around the world. Episode 33, Embracing Change, How Small Choices Lead to Big Transformations. So in this episode, I talk with you about how I was struggling with some food sensitivities and started to really pay attention to my health. I was having different circumstances, and I needed to make some changes. I needed to figure out what was I willing to do, what wasn't I willing to do, and how was I going to hold myself accountable, because no one else can. I have to do it. So talking about setbacks, talking about learnings, and talking about how you can take small steps to achieve big outcomes. Episode 34, Empowering Career Growth, Strategies with Kate Wade. So Kate is the founder of Get Her Hired. And in this episode, she talks about executive resume writing and the services she provides. She gives some actionable step-by-step tips on how to improve your resume, your cover letters, your LinkedIn profile. She talks about her mission, to empower 10,000 women and supportive men in achieving their career goals. So give a listen if you're looking at career enhancement. How do you improve your chances of being seen, she's got it for you. Episode 35, Leaps of Faith, Embracing Change and Empowering Leadership. I interviewed Natasha Speets on this one. So Natasha owns the Agile Company, and I've been a trainer for her. I met her in 2020 when she was my trainer for a class that I was taking, and I absolutely loved it. A few months later, I talked to her about how could I help promote her company more, and she actually asked if I'd be interested in being a trainer. And in this interview, we talk about her journey of teaching began when she started working with children with special needs. She's also trained dolphins and just has a fantastic experience that she shares with us. So give a listen. Episode 36, Gratitude Every Day. Transform your life one thankful moment at a time. This one came out around Thanksgiving. And at the holidays, it just feels even more important. Like all year long, we should be giving gratitude and thankfulness. But at the end of the year, I like to pause and really notice what are all the things that I'm thankful for. That episode gives you some insights that you can turn into daily practices. Episode 37, Heart-Centered Leadership and the Power of Purposeful Coaching with Sarah Davidson. Sarah is another trainer that I've worked with, and she is a heart-centered coach who really focuses on helping people work through their gunk and create this fantastic direction moving forward. She wants to leave a lasting, meaningful legacy through her coaching. And so she's really focused on being purposeful with teams and organizations and making sure that they have alignment. She talks with us about her questions. What else? What next? And how she really helps people dive into what's best for them. Looking at it from a people-centric perspective, something that we really need nowadays. Episode 38, Embracing Life's Transitions, Astrology Coaching and Personal Growth. In this episode, I interviewed astrologer Patricia Herlevy, and she takes us on a journey, I guess, we explore astrology, we explore all the facets of astrology. And I was going to say a tutorial, but it just packed with information about astrology and the science behind it and how the energies impact our lives. And I have worked with an astrologer for about 15 years prior to meeting Patricia. And that person has brought some amazing revelations. The way I do it is I would listen for, here's what the year at a glance is going to be like. And then after I went through that time, I would look back to see, oh, that's what that pattern was about. Oh, that's what's going on there. And so I love how Patricia makes it really user-friendly so that you can understand the sciences of the stars and the planets and how it might be impacting your life. In the next episode, episode 40, Thriving Through Perimenopause, Nutrition, Hormones, and Empowerment. I absolutely love Stephanie Crosweller. In fact, after recording this show, I became a client of hers and work with one of her coaches because I love the program that she's created. She has training in many facets of health. She has focused her journey on helping women between the ages of 35 and 60 live their most fulfilling times and learn what's changing in their bodies and how to improve your health through nutrition, through strength training, through movement that's right for you at this time in your life. And I will tell you that working with my coach, Brittany, has been just awe-inspiring. She is a fantastic person and she understands what I'm going through, which is really, really cool. So listen in on what Stephanie has to share and then see what opportunities you might be able to sprinkle into your life. Episode 39, Seasons of Miracles, Embracing Life's Transitions with Purpose and Possibility. So in this episode, it aired on Christmas. And I asked people to explore the cycles of life and nature and how in Minnesota, December is winter, where we are slowing down and we're preparing to hibernate so that we can become revitalized for the spring. And then talking about what are miracles and how do you know if you've witnessed a miracle? And how do you pay attention to the synchronicity in life? So that's a special episode around the energy and the awarenesses and following the seasons and trusting that you align with the seasons perfectly. Episode 41, Take Action, the key to creating the life you deserve. Of course, it's the start of the new year. And so in this episode, I talk with people about how to identify what do you want to be doing. Do you want a new job? Do you want to learn new skills? Would you like a certain lifestyle? You want these people in your life or not? And really looking at how do you get clear on your goals, break your goals down so that you can achieve them or shift them without throwing out everything. So that's a really great, if you need to rebalance and get back on track as we're done with Q1 of 2025, that's a really great episode to go back and listen to. Episode 42, Empowering Teams Through Collaboration and Communication. In this episode, I talk with Alyssa Sharp. She's an experienced project manager, and we talk about the human-centered mindset and using an agile framework, using some psychology or the psychology of how people work and how people think. And she really emphasizes the importance of creating a team environment where collaboration thrives and everyone understands the purpose behind changes that are being made. I encourage you, if you're on a team that needs to improve, if you're working in a company that's going through a cultural shift, great episode to listen to. Episode 43, Reignite Your Spark, Discovering Passion and Purpose with Laura Best. I got to go to an event, Kate Wade actually, that I had interviewed, invited me to an event that I got to meet Laura at. And Laura has a group called the Passion Collective. And she's really been helping women seeking fulfillment from around the world. She's done some amazing work. And in this episode, she really dives into how important it is to set boundaries so that you can preserve your energy, how to rediscover your joy through exploration, and how to have mindful time so that you can bring your passions to life. In episode 44, Christine Schwartz talks with us about how she went from rejection to redirection. And she shares with everybody how she's doing her own shift and has launched her own real estate business now. I'm very proud of her. Amazing journey that she shares and how she's actually the founder of Reinvent Your Hustle and Redefine Rituals. She shares how being rejected in some amazing jobs allowed her to create the life she wants. So we've got a theme here. There's a few people that I've interviewed who got their most amazing job or were on that path. And all of a sudden, whether it's they chose or it was chosen for them, life pivots happened and they're in such a better place now. So that is a reminder that when a door closes, a window may open. Episode 45, Healing Through Movement and Mindfulness. I absolutely loved this episode because Amy Korberg was a person I met back in the early 2000s. We literally sat next to each other every class for 18 months and became good friends. And here we are, 20 years later, connecting. We found each other at a restaurant just by chance, but I'd been asking her to be on the show. And the show that the interview was so impactful because she talks about her journey. She talks about movement, the importance of getting your soul aligned, taking action, and really just tuning into yourself and how impactful that is to help. Once you can heal yourself through that movement, get rid of the burnout and replace it with rejuvenation, how much more you have to give in your life. So listen in on Amy and my conversation. Episode 46, Ageless Growth. Embrace your evolving journey. So in this episode, I talk about the concept of age and how we let society set expectations, how we try to conform and fit in, but we might want to shift that. We might want to push back. We might want to challenge. I talk about how at one point I was asked, what makes you think you can do? And I've been asked this many times actually, what makes you think you can do that? And I asked, what makes you think I can't? So going in and embracing the evolution and owning your power as you start to get older, or owning your power if you have an amazing idea, regardless of your age, and allowing it to unfold. Get that support and all the things will come together. Episode 47, By Yourself, Unlocking Authentic Success. I interviewed Adele Kamel Whitley in this episode, and she takes us through her philosophy of by yourself, where she talks about how it's important for us to tune into what are our dreams, personal dreams, making sure that they're yours and that they are right for you instead of just doing what everybody expects you to. She had a wake-up call and a life-changing moment that caused her to really reflect, and she's created a course that helps other people do the same. In episode 48, Navigating Your Journey to Professional Happiness, I talk with people about a little bit more detail about the book that I wrote and really focus on identifying your passion, identifying what is it you really want to be doing, and reminding people that there are no cookie cutter approaches to anything. And it's okay to let go of perfectionism. I also talk to you about your purple cow. What makes you stand out? What makes you different? In episode 49, Building Resilience and Redefining Success with Lucy Davis. Lucy has quite a story. She's an accomplished entrepreneur, and she helps people with their homes in a variety of ways. Her story is very inspirational, from when she was a child, getting out of her home country, and then talking through life changes and some losses that she had and how she had to pivot. She found her dream, everything, and all of a sudden it crumbled, and how she rebuilt. So listen to Lucy's story, take some inspiration, and apply it to your life. Episode 50, Mastering Success, Cliff Skaja on leadership, growth, and resilience. This is the episode that I call the Cliffism episode. So my dad was Cliff Skaja, and he left behind, in my world, a legacy of guiding ideas. So this episode is filled with cliffisms that impact everybody's life at any level. So listen in and see if any of them resonate, and you can make them some mantras like everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, or live every day to the fullest because you never know when it's your last. Episode 51. In this episode, I got to interview Reverend Joanne Angel Berry Colon. She is a powerhouse of just a ball of energy, focused on holistic healing in the wellness realm, empowerment. She is a go-getter and she achieves what she wants. Listen to the story and take inspiration on how it might help you live into your best life even more. In episode 52, I interviewed Stephen Puri. Now, Stephen reached out to me, and this, I don't know if he knows this, but I'm going to share, and if he's listening, he'll know now. I was a little taken aback when he reached out. He sent me an email sharing tidbits about some of the episodes that he had listened to and sharing why he wanted to be on my show specifically. He is the founder and CEO of Suka Company, which is an organization dedicated to helping people improve focus and work-life balance. His background starts at 20th Century Fox and DreamWorks in leadership positions, and how he did. I just love the stories he told about working in creating CGI sequences for some of my favorite movies. How that all went. He did burst some of my bubbles, like, oh, what do you mean they didn't get 500 actors to do that thing? So listen in on that one because it's a lot of fun, and Stephen is just a really fantastic storyteller, as you would imagine. In episode 53, trusting intuition, embracing authenticity, and breaking free from the past. My friend Elizabeth Peak shares her story about how she went from being part of a cult-like environment to freedom and creating the life she really wants and living her authentic way. Her genuine spirit just shines in everything she does. She is, I'm going to call her a serial entrepreneur. She just comes up with amazing ideas, and as she continues to go on her journey, she's looking at ways to continuously improve and make even more impactful experiences for the people she works with. So listen into her story and see what experiences or what nuggets you might take to help you with your experiences. And then episode 54, the power of resilience, family, and finding purpose. I wrapped my year with this interview with my sister, Crystal. It was released on April 2nd, so 1 year, and 1 year to the day of my first release of my first podcast. In this episode, if you've ever wondered about the Skaja girls, or wondered about the life that were raised in, or wondered why we are the way we are, this is a perfect episode for you because you get to listen to two sisters reliving their past, talking about some of the challenges that we grew up with and some of the really fantastic opportunities. And my sister talks about how she took her childhood, the things that mom taught us, and has turned them into a variety of businesses and has really created the life she wants. We also reveal that every 20 years she goes through a pivot, and it was really a fascinating awareness and a fun conversation. So there you have it. There's actually 54 episodes to listen to, and that's 1 year in a quick recap. So you can go back and figure out which episodes would you like to listen to and live into your best life. Make this year even better than the past. one step at a time. Until next time, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, identify those episodes that you think are most valuable, re-listen to them, and help me get to 15,000 downloads, please. And enjoy the journey as you live into your best life, one day at a time. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Claudia Skaja, your show host for Live Into Your Best Life. Check out the show notes and visit her at paulyskaja.com to learn more and continue your journey. Until next week, enjoy the adventure.